Mansell trying to get his tyres hot, ready to have a real go probably on his next lap. But it certainly makes for a more interesting qualifying session from our point of view to watch when the drivers are not on qualifying tyres, because they can do 5 or 6 lap runs, and of course they have an unlimited number of laps to do to try and get their time. So we see a lot more activity on the circuit. Right, Mansell just coming up to complete this lap. This will be a build-up lap. He's passing Johnny Dumfries there in the Lotus. Dumfries moves out of the way, and this will probably be Nigel's first attempt. There is Alain Prost. The McLarens have only... Sorry, it's Keke Rosberg, I do beg your pardon. Keke Rosberg, the McLarens have only just gone out, so he'll be building up as well.
And it was Keke Rosberg who took pole position in the German Grand Prix, first pole position he had since he joined the McLaren team. And of course he's announced his retirement from Grand Prix driving at the end of this season. And he very much wants, of course, to get at least one more victory under his belt before he disappears from the driving seat. Meantime, as we look at Rosberg, Nigel Mansell in second position on the grid is 45 seconds round a lap, which is going to take him about a minute and a half. Rosberg has had major alterations made to the McLaren as a result of the management's decision to accommodate his driving style rather than require him to fit their car. Out goes Stefan Johansson, who is now in sixth position on the grid in the Ferrari, and there is Rosberg again. Now those changes that have been made to the car allow Rosberg to exploit his exuberant style and hang the tail out a bit instead of driving as smoothly as Alain Prost and the man, Niki Lauda, of course, who was with Prost last year, used to drive. And the difference showed up dramatically in the German Grand Prix, with Rosberg taking pole position. And now Nigel Mansell is back in pole position, and this is the 20th minute in this 60-minute session. There is Nelson Piquet looking at the television monitor mounted on the front of his car, and no doubt glowering a bit inside his helmet, because he's down to second, and Mansell is 0.2 of a second quicker, 1 minute 30.2. Williams first, Williams second.
That looks like an improvement for Rosberg. So Keke Rosberg has improved his time, and the McLarens were not very happy yesterday. They missed the best of the conditions on the track by going out late when oil went down, and Rosberg moves into fourth place with a 132.175. And the McLarens did a bit of changes to their car, and they got it going a lot better today. And there is Mansell, having just regained pole position back from his teammate Nelson Piquet. But in this morning's untimed session, Prost was second fastest, and that time was done with a half-full fuel load, which of course makes the car substantially heavier. So there we have the times at the moment. Alio, who put in a very good lap early on, is being pushed down a little bit now. And Prost, of course, has been bumped and still hasn't yet gone out to have a go.
Now, the significant thing about that caption is that René Arnoux, the Frenchman in the Ligier, has moved into third position. They are all going quicker now, and Arnoux had a very deliberate 1.5 hours practice this morning, continually coming into the pits, having the ride height and all sorts of other things of his Ligier changed, and it seems to have paid off. Mansell is fastest at the present moment, and you're looking at Nigel Mansell at the present moment. Piquet in the other Williams at the second fastest. So the Williams cars, as they have done for the last several Grand Prix, are dominating here at the Hungaroring, with Mansell fastest, Piquet second. In the Ligier, René Arnoux third. Fourth is Keke Rosberg in the McLaren. Fifth is Ayrton Senna, who's yet to go out this afternoon. Sixth is Philippe Alliot, so both the Ligiers are in the top 6. Seventh is Patrick Tambay in the Lola Ford. Eighth, Johansson. Ninth, Berger. Then Alain Prost, who also has yet to go out. You may think it's strange that we're halfway through the session, almost, and yet the world champion has not yet gone out to practice. It's not strange, actually, and here's why.
Well, he's waiting for the track, because the track will, in the normal way, get steadily quicker. But I have to say I disagree with the tactics, because I think it's essential to go out and get a time. It's not as if they're using qualifying tyres where he would then be wasting a set on a slower track. He can do as many laps as he wants, and I really think the right tactic would be, having had the experience yesterday of oil being dropped about halfway through the session and the track getting a lot slower, he could be starting the race from 10th place or worse. So I really think he should go out and establish some sort of a time.
There's the Williams of Nelson Piquet in the pits. Here is the Williams of Nigel Mansell, and Ayrton Senna is going through that very deliberate procedure of his, of polishing the visor and making sure that everything is perfect in the Lotus pits, and then he will be going out to go for his fast time. And he's now down to 5th position, whereas when the session started he was in 3rd place. And as you look at Mansell, I can tell you that Alain Prost, the world champion who was 2nd on the grid in the last Grand Prix in Germany, is out on the circuit, working up to race speed. He's just left the pit lane. Nigel Mansell, we'll see how this lap compares. He's had to pass several people, which will inevitably have lost him time. And he's only into turn 16 with turn 17 and then the finishing straight to go. Ayrton Senna in the background with the balaclava on, soon the helmet, and into the Lotus. As over the line went Mansell, here is Prost, just gradually and deliberately in the McLaren with the V6 tag engine designed and built by Porsche, working up to racing speed. And the McLarens, which have been so dominant for the last 2 years, constructors champions in 1984 and 85, have had to give precedence to the Williams team this year. Williams leading in the Constructors' Championship now, 26 points ahead of the McLaren team. Alain Prost has got 16 pole positions in his career already. He's coming up to pass one of the Minardis there. And Andrea de Cesaris yesterday, I'm afraid, was up to his old tricks because he blew a turbo, laid oil on the circuit, proceeded serenely to motor back to the pits, continuing to lay oil, as a result of which several people went off.
Yes, you can see how non-abrasive the track surface is here, because Alain Prost has done nearly a whole lap, and you can still see the labels on his tyres. So it takes at least 2 laps to get things up to operating temperature. So this won't be a quick one for Prost. He'll still be bringing his tyres in, and I would think his next lap will be when he'll be starting to have a go.
At the cars and working out whether they're on their first or their second set of qualifying tyres, because in the timed sessions for the grid, each driver is allowed 2 sets of tyres. But that is not the case here today, because as I said earlier on, they're on race tyres which last a long time and they can stay out indefinitely. Mansell is still fastest, and we are now in minute 29, just about halfway through the session. Piquet is still 2nd. Rosberg has moved up to 3rd place. Down to 4th has gone Arnoux. Senna is still in 5th position, but has not yet put up a time this afternoon. In 6th position is Philippe Alliot. In 7th position is Tambay, followed by Johansson, Barbie, Berger, Prost, Patrese, and Martin Brundle is in 13th place, but Martin has worked very hard on the car this morning, the Tyrrell with the Renault engine, and was up to 7th place in this morning's unofficial session. So the car's going a lot quicker, and we can expect Brundle to considerably improve his time. Over the line goes Alain Prost. Now he is undoubtedly going for a quick one. He is in 11th position, just about halfway through the session. No problem about staying out as long as he likes, because he is not on qualifying tyres. And his tag engine will be developing more horsepower than it does during the race, but not as much more as most of the engines, because the tag engine does not respond to increased boost as much as, say, the Honda or the Renault engine or the BMW does, which is why the McLarens are always much better in the final half hour of practice on Sunday morning than in the qualifying session. But anyway, here is Prost, 11th fastest.
Yeah, you can see Prost just bouncing on the curbs a little bit, using every inch of the road. Just touching that curve on the inside is probably a little bit of a disadvantage. It unbalances the car in the middle of the corner and tends to just nudge it across the track off the line a bit. But they're fairly gentle, these curves here. Now, Prost coming around off the last corner, long, fairly tight right-hander, and then on the full power at the exit. And that is an improvement on Prost's time, but it is still not going to move him right up. We haven't seen the time come up yet on our list, but 32.5 is going to put him into 7th place. So Prost moves up into 7th place, and he'll be going for another quick lap now, and there is Ayrton Senna. And he is the last person to go out for the first time, and we have a spinner, and that is Gerhard Berger, who is a very much improved driver, and he's been going very well indeed with the Benetton recently. In qualifying, he got fastest lap in the race at Hockenheim, but he seems to be impaled on that curb. The car is stuck on its tummy, and they're going to have to lift it off. I think he should probably get out and supervise, because they seem to be a bit stuck to do. They should move the front off, and then the back will be pushable off. Ah, they've got the hang of it now. I dare say his engine is stalled by now, so they should give him a push, and then they can clear the track. Yeah, there we go. There have been a few spins here. Senna has had a good 3 spins in the 2 days. There was an extra day's practice on Thursday, an extra session, an unofficial practice for 2 hours, which allowed everybody to get the hang of the circuit and have a look at the new track. And the organisation and the preparation of the facilities here has been absolutely marvellous. And I must say the Hungarians are being extremely hospitable hosts to all of us, and it's a marvellous effort, being the first Eastern Bloc World Championship Grand Prix. They seem to be a bit of a loss to get Berger back on the move. That's it. Now they're getting going.
Here is Ayrton Senna, the Brazilian who won in Spain and won in America, and who at the present moment is in 3rd position in the Drivers' World Championship in his Lotus with the Renault engine. And he is in 6th position on the grid. Now he's approaching the line about 60 miles an hour, and they're rolling round on a trailing throttle. Then, as he comes out of the right-hander, which follows this left, the course starts to climb uphill. He's doing about 150 miles an hour as he goes into this left-hander, down into 3rd gear for turn 6 at about 110. Tiny little short straight at 140 miles an hour. 2nd gear into the top chicane. There he goes. And Ayrton Senna is trying now to beat the fastest lap we've had so far. Nigel Mansell's 1 minute 30.22. which will be, I suspect, just a whisker over 100 miles an hour, probably the first 100 mile an hour lap there's been at the Hungaroring, as now down towards turn 12, out of the right-hander there at about 85 miles an hour, building up to 135 went Senna. Now he's down to the second gear, turn 16, up to the right-hander, which leads out into the start and finish straight. And according to my stopwatch, it was 1 minute 29.45, in which case, if I'm close to it, it is. That means to say that up into pole position goes Ayrton Senna, 1 minute 29.45, faster than Mansell's 1 minute 30.2.
Yes, and that was a one-lap special by Senna because he posted the time and he slowed right down to cool the tyres down. It'll be interesting to see if he stays out just cooling the tyres as we go back to Nigel Mansell, who is going out once again, but remember he'll have quite a long lap, and Patrick Tambay has moved up into 5th place. The Haas Lola Fords going very much better here. Their engine is not the disadvantage it has been at some of the circuits with the longer straights, and their chassis is undoubtedly very good round slow corners, so very encouraging effort from that team. Nigel just going slowly, trying to keep out of the way of people on the quick lap, and not being a great help there, but he won't be too bothered about that. Warm things up nice and slowly to keep the tyres in nice clean condition, ready to give it the full boot round the last couple of corners to run on to the straight. So Nigel has now got a target to shoot at, Senna having gone nearly, well, 3/4 of a second quicker. So good timing for Mansell to get out there.
Yes, a banzai lap from Ayrton Senna, which is very appropriate because this is the furthest east that the Grand Prix scene has ever been, and at over 100 miles an hour, as you saw on the caption. Ayrton Senna has already in his career had 12 pole positions, and he's only into his 3rd year of Grand Prix racing. And that's an amazing achievement. But Nigel Mansell, who is certainly the most improved driver, notwithstanding the fact that he won 2 Grand Prix last year, because he is in the most superb form this year.
Yes, things are beginning to hot up at the front. The interesting thing is that Alan Prost, you see there in 8th place with 32.35 his time, is still a second slower, or nearly a second slower, than he was this morning in the untimed session. So Prost should have more to come, unless he's got some problem with the car, and he'd be well advised to get out there and have a go. And Nigel Mansell now starting what will probably be a quick lap. He's been out there, warmed everything up, and there we've got the clock on him. And remember, 1 minute 29.450 is the time he's got to beat. He's in 2nd place at the moment. Ayrton Senna has just nudged him off the pole position, and there's Senna's car going back into the garage, keeping out of the sun. Let everything cool down. We go back to Nigel Mansell. And Rosberg has just improved his time a little bit. He's recaptured 5th place from Patrick Tambay. He's moved down to 6th with a 31.23. And Prost, as I said, he should be out there getting a decent time in. He's done it. Prost moves up into 4th place with a 1 minute 30.6. So he's now challenging the 2 Williamses, but still a fair way from Senna's particularly quick lap. It'll be important here to get a good grid position because this track is very short on straight, and overtaking is going to be pretty difficult in the race.
Well, 22 minutes to go. Nigel Mansell starting another quick lap with 1 minute 29.45 his target, In front of him, he's got Philippe Alliot, the Frenchman in the Ligier, and the order now is Senna fastest, 1 minute 29.45 at an average of over 100 miles an hour. Nigel Mansell, that you're looking at, second fastest, ahead of his teammate Nelson Piquet, third. Fourth is Alain Prost. There is Senna, the fastest man so far, waiting in the pits. Fifth is Keke Rosberg. Sixth is Tournbay. Seventh Arnoux. Eighth Johansson. Ninth Jones. 10th Alliot. 11th Farby. And 12th Berger. But as Senna goes out, he is still in pole position. 1 minute 29.45. There is the man who is second fastest, or rather, I was about to say he's disappeared from view, but what has happened, of course, is that they've lifted the top part of the body, as a result of which Prost appears to be submerging. That means to say that they're making some adjustment to the rear of the car or behind him. Mansell's improved his time to 1 minute 30.072. There is his car, but he's still in third position. And it's looking suspiciously to me as though James is absolutely right in suggesting that Senna was on qualifying tyres and that the others were not. There are the tyres being heated up under their electric blankets to keep them as close as possible to racing temperature on Nigel Mansell's car, so we can expect him to be going out in the closing minutes, but at the moment it's Senna leading, Prost second, Mansell third, Piquet fourth, Rosberg fifth, and Tournbay sixth.
Yes, I expect a big effort from Nelson Piquet too towards the end. We haven't seen him out on the track for quite a while. He's been biding his time, sitting on his current fourth place time, but he should have a set of fresh tyres up his sleeve, and we're beginning, yes, they're putting him on his car now. They're preheating the tyres with those heating blankets that go around them, and Senna out again. We may be able to work out whether he's on qualifiers or whether he's on race tyres but I would think he'll get a couple of runs out of his qualifiers, so that's a new set. You can still see the label on the left rear. And now he's completing the lap, and he looks to me like he's going to give it a quick one, which would probably mean he's on qualifiers, because it seems to take 2 laps to warm up, to get race tyres up to full operational performance. And that was Mansell just taking a slow lap past Minardi. And there's quite a lot of activity around Nelson Piquet's car at the moment. They're obviously getting him ready to go out and have a go, but Senna is definitely on the hard one. Little Ripley on the track there coming out of that corner. Right onto the apex of the corner and then swinging out wide on full power, putting down something like 1,000 plus horsepower from the Renault engine up on maximum boost for qualifying. The little switch as he slides it right out wide. It looks good this lap. He certainly... Oh, Senna, there he goes. Well, he tried just that little bit too hard. So that will be pretty annoying for Senna, and he stalled the engine. So he needs a push, and here we see him just bouncing over the curb, and he just flicked it up on the curb too much, and round he went. And that's Senna's 4th spin of the weekend, I think, or at least 4th.
Yes, a possible reason will be that De Cesaris has actually blown an engine again. There is oil on the track, although it may well have been that Senna clipped one of the very high curbs here. As you can see, he's stalled his engine. The flagging is just a bit suspect here, which is hardly surprising. I've done it again, he says. Well, these cars with a considerable amount of rolling resistance on the tyres, and it looks to me he's on the slightly uphill part of the section, take a bit of getting going.
Yeah, and he just doesn't seem to be able to get enough push. They are trying to push the thing uphill, which is a bit unfortunate. Senna's getting very wound up. There just aren't, they really need one or a couple of extra people. You can always rode it backwards down the hill and started in reverse, but they haven't really thought of that. but that will be most annoying for Senna because, of course, he will have used his qualifiers. That was very near the end of the lap, and they won't be at their best for another lap. So he's rather wasted his chance of improving there. Although, of course, he still leads. He's still got half a second on everybody else, but he would have liked to have just got a bigger cushion. So Senna goes in. He definitely, he hit that curb pretty hard. It threw the car up in the air a little bit, and he just failed to catch it as it came down.
We are into the last minute of timed practice to qualify for the starting grid of tomorrow's Hungarian Grand Prix. The second ever Hungarian Grand Prix, the first one of which was held in 1936 and won by the great Tazio Nuvolari, but this is the first World Championship Hungarian Grand Prix, and any moment now the official with the checkered flag will be walking out onto the circuit. As you look at Johnny Dumfries's Lotus, and there is Derek Warwick in the background in the Brabham, and there is the Williams there of Nigel Mansell, and in the last 60 seconds Nigel Mansell is trying for pole position. He couldn't have left it finer. He's not held up by Derek Warwick. Now Mansell, if he could get across the line before the checkered flag, and he hasn't. So Nigel Mansell has to slow down. He'd mistimed things by about 5 seconds. If he'd been 5 seconds further round the track, he could have gone for a really quick lap. But now, with the practice period being completed and nobody really fast out on the circuit, Ayrton Senna has achieved his 13th pole position of his career, his 6th of the year, and Piquet is in second position on the grid. Prost is third, Mansell is fourth, Rosberg is fifth, Tambay is in sixth position, followed by Johansson. Johnny Dumfries is eighth, Arnoux is ninth, Jones is 10th, and then Berger and Alio. And tomorrow it's going to be a long, hard race.
For tomorrow's Hungarian Grand Prix, in pole and second positions on the grid, 2 Brazilian drivers. And in second position on the grid, it's Nelson Piquet. Nelson, I suspect that you had some problems because I believe you could have gone quicker. Did you?
Yeah, the car was very, very good. But we had a small problem with the engine. We have some misfire. I don't know. They're checking out. Maybe one of the butterflies of the engine was bent. And I did a quite good lap in the qualified tires, and just in the end, but I could not improve much my time.
How many sets of qualifiers did you have? Because we think a lot of people were trying to qualify on race tires.
I did only one set of qualifiers, and let only for the end, the last 10 minutes. I put half through the qualifier, the set, but when I went out, one of the car inside blew up the engine, put some oil in the circuit. I came in, changed the tires again, try again with the B tires, and after put the qualifiers the last 10 minutes and improve the time.
Well, Hungary has produced a magnificent circuit and all the complex that goes with it for its first Grand Prix. What do you think of the circuit as a driver?
Well, I think they've done a fantastic job. Everything here is fantastic. All the pits is good for work. The circuit is very safe. But only miss a little bit of imagination to design the circuit. The circuit is only slow corners, and take a little bit of pleasure to real, who like the real driving a racing car.
Well, with your recent charge, you are now on target for your third World Championship. You're in 4th place. Do you think you can make it?
Well, it's very difficult to say that. It'll be a hard battle between me and Nigel, also between Senna and Prost. I don't think it'll be easy, but I'm trying.
Yeah. What about the race tomorrow?
Well, I don't like this kind of circuit. I don't like slow circuits, but I try the best I can. I think the car is going very well. The balance is very good. And Nigel is being very, very quick all week. I think I have to be a little patient because it's a quite long race. Tomorrow will be very hot also. I think I can do very well.
It's going to be a 2-hour race tomorrow. Are you in good shape physically?
Yes, I'm in very good shape.
And he's in good shape on the grid as well. On the front row alongside Ayrton Senna, who's claimed his 6th pole position of the season, and then that Second row of Alain Prost, the defending champion, and the championship leader Nigel Mansell in the Williams. Behind those, well, Martin Brundle was 16th fastest, Derek Warwick 19th, and Jonathan Palmer 24th. But it's Ayrton Senna on pole position, the man to beat tomorrow.
Ayrton, your 6th pole position of the year, and we were trying to work out, looking at the car, whether you were on qualifying tyres or race tyres. Which were you?
Of course, qualifying tyres.
You had no doubts that the qualifiers would be okay on the surface?
They didn't work on the first day, but today in the morning we tried them. We were not very fast, but I thought they were fast anyway, and I decided to go for 2 sets of qualifiers, which eventually proved to be the right choice.
Well, now, most unusually for you, we saw you spin twice. What happened?
Well, I spun 5 times on the past 3 days, and I never spun so many times in my life. It's just that the track have a very slippery surface. Therefore, the level of grip is very limited and makes it tremendous hard to drive, to keep concentration. And a small mistake, it costs you a spin. And as I've been driving, let's say, over the limit to be able to be there, I made some mistakes. I just went a bit too far, and the consequence of it is a spin.
Now, your 6th pole position of the year has celebrated your decision to re-sign for Lotus, and you now have a record with Lotus. The team has done 104 pole positions, which is more than anybody else. What do you think of the Hungaroring circuit?
First of all, I think it's fantastic for the team, to the JPS team, Lotus be with the record, with the pole positions. But most important is championship this year, and the race tomorrow, which is also a very important part of it. I think the track itself, the facilities is fantastic. The Hungarians made a wonderful job here, and it's one more example to all the organizers all over the world that when you want and you have the wish and the facilities, you can do. And I hope everybody that come new for Formula One have the same attitude, and therefore we just improve and improve more Formula One.
Well, that's a very, very nice tribute to the Hungarians, and I'm sure they want me to thank you for it. Now, behind you tomorrow, you've got both Williams and both McLarens. It's going to be a long, hard, tough race. For you?
I think for anybody, it's going to be less tough to the one that has the best car. I'm not sure who is the one that has the best car at the moment. I hope it's Lotus, and I hope we can have a good start, clean start, no accidents, and a good hard race. It's going to be a long race, 2 hours.